Hey, I'm Tanya, your resident behavior analyst, and I'm here today to talk to you about the grocery store, which can be an adventure to say the least, especially when you're with a young child, but sometimes when you're with an older one, you never know. So this is going to be the first in a series of videos covering different aspects of the grocery store and what you can do to solve different problems that you might be having while you're there. It's also an accompanying video to go with a blog post that I wrote called The Mystery of the Well-Behaved Child at the Grocery Store. That's linked down below if you want to check it out in the meantime. So today's first video is all about preventive planning. What is preventive planning? It's a great question. Preventive planning are things that you can put in place before you go to the grocery store, or things that you can keep in mind before going to the grocery store that are going to increase the likelihood of your success while you're there. Success being defined as hopefully decreasing the behavior you're looking to see decrease. So let's talk about what your preventive planning might look like. One of the main things I talk about is setting events. And what a setting event is things that are kind of going on with your child that are going to affect their behavior. So these are going to be things like them being sleepy, them being hungry, them being cranky, especially with toddlers. You know, at certain parts of the day, they're just gonna melt down and there's nothing you can do about it. You could give them everything they want and they'll still be upset. So keep that in mind when you're doing your preventive planning. Those are gonna be times that either you don't want to go to the grocery store or you want to try to remedy those symptoms before you go. Obviously, it's an easy fix. If they need a nap, try and make sure that you go grocery shopping after a nap. If it looks like a nap's not going to happen that day, maybe grocery shopping can be put off a day. I would encourage that if you are actively working on the grocery store trips and a specific behavior and making it better. Because if you're working on it, the more practice they get, the faster they're going to learn. But if they have a rough day and you know they're not going to meet what the goals are that you have in mind, whatever they are, that's going to be the replacement behavior that I talk about in my blog. Then you want to make sure that you avoid the grocery store trip if you know it's going to be a fail, because that's just going to count against your child. It's not going to reinforce them behaving appropriately. It's going to make you miserable. So, if it can be avoided, I would suggest that you do. If it can't, just try to survive. That's all we can do. If your child hasn't eaten, I suggest a snack, a meal, whatever's necessary before you go. We know this is a rule for us anyway. Don't go grocery shopping when you're hungry because you'll buy the whole store, that whole thing. But for kids, they'll get hangry so easily. Also, I feel like if they're really full, they might be less likely to really want as many things as usual. Not that they won't want anything, but maybe not as much. And keeping in mind when you go to the grocery store can help tremendously as well when you're first working on going maybe more often to practice the appropriate behavior you're looking for. Those kinds of things will help just with everyone else at the grocery store. I know it's not fun to have people make judgmental remarks or just do judgmental stares, that whole thing, and it's ridiculous whether they have kids or not. Like, they need to be understanding. They don't know your life. They don't know what's going on. I just wish they would keep their opinions to themselves sometimes. So I found it helpful to suggest that parents go usually early in the morning, maybe on a weekday. Even on a weekend, it's not too bad because I do my grocery shopping in the mornings on the weekend, like around 9 a.m. There aren't as many people present. You're not going to have to deal with as many strangers and their looks and comments. And maybe your child won't act up as much because there won't be as big of an audience. I know some kids do that for an audience, so that might help. You never know. It's just an easy way to ease yourself into whatever strategy you're going to implement to try to work on this behavior with your child. Another setting event to keep in mind are things in the schedule that have changed recently. I mean, school just started for a lot of kids. If not, it's about to start. That's a major change that's going to throw kids off. Maybe that's not the time to work on grocery store behaviors because they've got a jam-packed schedule, everything is changing, and they're more likely to engage in naughty behavior at the grocery store and out of the grocery store. So don't make your life more difficult at that time because they're less likely to actually engage in appropriate behavior when you're asking them to. So might as well save it for another day. Other setting events might be if families over visiting, if there are new people that you're going grocery shopping with. Any of those things are going to affect your child's behavior because they can get attention from other people, which is usually what they're looking for in addition to the things that they want. And that's it. It's just important to keep in mind things going on in the environment, things going on in the schedule, things that's going on in your child, like the hunger or the sleepiness, and, fix the ones that you can fix. And the ones that you can't, just do the best you can. I try to wait for days where they're fairly compliant at home, and then I know that I can go work on it at the grocery store. And again, this is just when you're starting out, when you want to go a couple of times a week just to practice more often so that your child is getting rewards for being appropriate, which we'll talk about later. And they're more likely to succeed. But obviously, once they've got it down and they're behaving appropriately, you don't need to go that often. You can go at any point in time because it'll be fixed. You're good to go. It's just at first when you want to practice more often, the more things you can put in place to help you succeed, the better off you'll be and the easier the whole process will be. I hope that was helpful. Make sure to subscribe and sign up for alerts below. And I'll be putting out the next video in the next couple of weeks. We'll be talking about setting your expectations and how to choose what behaviors to work on because you don't want to work on them all at once. So I'll see you then. Bye.